Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Jess and I live in Gloucestershire in England, and this is my first time making a video since a very long time. So welcome back if you are subscribed to me already, and hello if you are new here. So I'm having to lean down at this very awkward angle because I haven't really got a very good camera set up at the moment. You're currently balanced on baking tins and a book, so the angles in this video might be a little bit random. I'm still finding my feet on how to best film this for you. I'm a stay-at-home mum to a little boy who is 5, who's actually at school, and I actually have one on the way. You probably couldn't see because I'm bending forward, but I'm due the end of March, so really not very long to go now. So I'm trying to get organised. This January has prompted me to be a little bit more organised and prep some things ahead for when the baby comes. I want to stop relying on going to the supermarket, and as I have the time currently, obviously when baby comes, who knows what's going to happen and how I'm going to find my feet. But I want to be able to try and, because I love baking and baking has always been my thing. So it makes sort of sense for having the time and the passion to make things instead of buying them from the supermarket. Obviously I'm very privileged to be able to be at home doing that. I also work for myself. I'm self-employed. I have a blog which is linked in the description somewhere. It's Jess Eats and Travels. Today you join me on a day where I'm making a white loaf because we are nearly out of bread, and so that means I need to make a loaf. Trying really hard to get into the habit of doing that this year. We live very close to a supermarket, so it's so easy for me to just go over and buy a loaf. I'm also going to be making some apple pie bars. So my son is really a big fan of these organics. This is a raspberry and apple OT bar. He is nearly 6, but he still loves these. I give them to him for his school snack. And you know, I'm just sick and tired of paying out for them when I know that I can make something. So I found a recipe online for apple pie bars, and I'm going to try out the recipe and see. I'll let you know where it's from in a moment when I have a look. But I want to try them out and see if they are any way similar, because you know what kids are like. Once they're used to one thing, it's quite hard to get them to like something that you've made if it doesn't taste very similar to the thing that they originally liked. So we'll see. And I'm also going to be making some coulis because, I'll just go to my fridge a second. I made some yoghurt. So sorry my head gets cut off. I will sort that out in a minute. I made some yoghurt. I currently put the yoghurt into jars. I made it in my Instant Pot. And these ones I've put in a little bit of granola at the bottom. It's basically like overnight oats now. But I want to put a little bit of coulis, you know, fruit puree at the top, and also for these plain ones. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a plum coulis and a strawberry coulis, and that's it. It's basically loaf, apple pie bars and coulis, and that's what we're doing this morning. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the plain white loaf. I've got my baking tin here. This is a £2 loaf tin, and I'm going to start off by greasing it. Now, sorry, I know you can't see down very well. I'm struggling with the angles, but I'm going to lift things up so you can see. I normally just get my butter dish and a little bit of either the end of like a butter wrapper if I've got the butter at the fridge, or a paper towel, or you could use anything really that's, I know that you're going to probably throw away, which isn't great. And I just grease my tin with that. You could also, if you wanted to go to the trouble of melting some butter and getting a little pastry brush and like painting it on, but that just takes a little bit more effort when you could just do it this way. And I'll keep that there for a moment. And then what I do is I get my flour and I just basically pop it in my tin and pat it around. This will stop the bread from sticking, and I do this with cakes as well, so it saves me having to line pans a lot. I'm not a big fan of, I'm quite lazy when it comes to lining a cake pan. I much prefer this method. So that is about that done. And then I'm going to grab my, I'm using a KitchenAid, so I'm just going to use my KitchenAid bowl. And I'm going to weigh 700 grams of white bread flour. So it's quite a lot actually. This recipe does require quite a lot of flour, so I hope I've got enough in this tub. We shall see. I think we're going to do it. Yes, I think we're nearly just had enough. Yeah, so 700 in there. And then I'm going to pop my yeast. So I've got a fast action yeast. One packet of this is equivalent to 15 grams of fresh yeast. I think this is basically 7 grams in this packet. It's the equivalent of 15 grams of fresh yeast, which is what is required. So this actually just goes straight into the bowl. I don't need to leave it bubble in a jug of water or anything, so that can go in there. Okay, so now I need to add in some sea salt. So about 1 teaspoon, 1 rough teaspoon of sea salt in there. I'm gonna go over to the mixer now with the 500 mils of tepid water, and we're gonna add it in gradually, not all of it. This will be way too much, and hopefully we'll get some sort of smooth, sticky-ish dough, but I'll take you over now. So this part is just easier for me to do handheld, so sorry if it's a bit shaky. But I'm gonna add in about 200 mils of that water and start mixing it together. As you can see, there's still quite a lot of dry flour on the side. It's definitely a sign to add in a little bit more of your water. There we go, you can see the flour starting to come down from the sides. Okay, so I've added nearly about 400 mils of my water, and as you can see, the dough is well and truly coming together now. I'm going to stop it so we can have a little look. The dough is quite sticky, but there's still some bits of dry dough left to go back in, so I'm gonna leave it mixing for another few minutes and then we'll take another look. Okay, so whilst the dough is kneading for another 5 minutes, I hope you can hear me, by the way, with the mixer going on. I'm gonna double check this clip in a second and see if you can hear me. If you can, I'll carry on. But what I'm gonna do in the meantime is start prepping for the coulis. So I've got some strawberries. I'm gonna shout a bit so you can hear me. Obviously not in season at the moment, so these are perfect for coulis because they've got a yellow sticker and it means they're going to be thrown away anyway. So I've rescued these from the supermarket and I'm going to make a strawberry coulis. And I also bought some plums, so some really nice, obviously plums, not really in season at the moment to be honest, but probably more in season than strawberries are. So the bread dough is looking really good now, getting out of the bowl, so you can see it. It's looking very smooth. That's the sort of look you're going for. Basically, is a smooth dough like this that has all come together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to oil up my bowl using the same little kitchen towel that I used earlier. Get my oil. I'm just going to rub it around. Same bowl that I used. Completely clean from the mixer. Pop that in there. Pop in the dough. I'm gonna grab my tea towel, go over to the sink and damp this tea towel a second. I just ran it under some water and squeeze out the excess, and this is gonna stop the dough from drying out. So you should be able to see me over here. I'm gonna pop the dough. So we're very lucky to have an oven which is an Argo, which is always on. It is an electric one, so we don't have it, we can turn it off. It's not a gas one, but basically there's a really warm patch at the back from the ovens being on. So, but I mean, I used to put it in my airing cupboard. Airing cupboards always tend to be warm. That's a really good place to leave dough to prove. Obviously, if you live in a really sunny country, just by the windowsill, anywhere where there's a sunny spot. So this is gonna go over here for about, I wanna say 45 minutes to an hour until it's doubled in size. So we'll just leave that there for now. Also, the book that I'm cooking from, that I always cook my bread from, is the traditional Arga cookbook, but obviously you don't have to have an Arga to use this cookbook. A lot of it does talk about like roasting oven, simmering oven, but a roasting oven is typically about 240 degrees Celsius, and a simmering oven is about 140. I think the baking oven is about 180 degrees Celsius. So you can figure out what it will be in your oven if you want to buy this book as well. So yeah, we're going to leave that to prove, and it's going to be time for my actual lunch in a minute. So I might have a little break from cooking and filming. My strawberries are ready to go in the pan. I think what I'm going to do is actually pop in some sugar. So the recipe that I'm doing is very, very simple. I mean, these strawberries are not in season, so I'm just going to try one and see if they actually, how sweet they are. They've obviously been forced. They're not very sweet. There's a hint of sour, like sourness. So I'm going to do about 2 to 3 tablespoons of caster sugar in my bowl. I didn't actually use all the strawberries because we don't have a lot of fruit in the house at the moment. I bought fruit last week at the market, so every Saturday there's a market on, and we don't have any, we've run out basically. So apart from apples, which I was going to use to make something with, not the bars I'm making later. I was going to make an apple pie filling with apples, but my canning machine, which I've ordered, hasn't yet arrived. So that's really exciting. I'll be able to actually can things and preserve things to keep, especially if I'm going to grow my own veg at some point. But it hasn't arrived yet, so the apples might need to be used up. So I've kept some strawberries back for my son for a snack, and I'm gonna actually, might as well pop this on the, sorry, excuse me for my coughing. I seem to have developed a little cough. I use this spoon actually. And I'm just gonna pop it on a medium-ish temperature. We've got an induction hob, so I popped it on about a 6, and I'm going to leave it so the sugar and the strawberries sort of melt and blend in together, and eventually it will just break down and come into sort of like a syrupy sauce. So I'm going to leave that going. I'm going to have my lunch and I'm going to come back to you afterwards. So the coulis is looking really good at the moment. It is, well, it's done basically. So I'm going to show you down here. So this took all of like 5 minutes. As you can see, the strawberries are really soft, and it's very syrupy. I'm gonna pour the strawberries into a NutriBullet container. I'm really having to bend down. I need to get this camera stuff sorted out. And I'm gonna puree it up, because I think, as much as I like having lumps of strawberry, I think it's gonna be really nice to puree. And I think I'm gonna do the same for the plums as well. Strawberries only made enough for 1 jar, but when strawberries are in season, I'm going to make a lot a lot of strawberry coulis because strawberries are possibly one of my most favourite fruits. So I pop this in the fridge now and I'm going to get on chopping the plums. My camera battery is also flashing, so I'm going to chop the plums up, get them in the pan, and then I'll show you what they look like once they've started cooking. Okay, so you can see the plums are starting to cook down, but they're taking a bit longer than the strawberries to get soft. I've also added in here some vanilla extract, probably about a tablespoon. I went a bit overboard on the extract, so they're going to be super vanilla-y. And I've also added in, I think I put about 5 plums, and I put about 5 tablespoons of sugar. So I want them to be really sweet, so I don't think these plums are sweet at all. Also, the bread dough has doubled in size. So I'm going to start knocking that back. So when we knock back, we basically just push all the air out of the dough like this. So I'm going to now start whilst the bread dough is doing its second proof in the loaf pan. That'll normally take about 30 minutes, I would say, but we'll see. I'm going to start making my apple pie bars now. And the recipe is from My Kids Lick the Bowl. So sorry if you see me looking at my phone or looking down, it's because I'm following the recipe. I've never done it before, so fingers crossed this is going to turn out really well and be the one. So we're going to start off by mixing the oats. So the oats that she suggests using are quick oats and rolled oats. Now, I'm not sure because I think this is a recipe from New Zealand. They probably have different terms for oats, I'm not sure, but I've got some coarser oats in a jar and I've got some what we call rolled oats here. These are finer oats. So, yeah. Because I think they're basically like the quick cook ones, and then hopefully these are the rolled ones. I can't remember what they are in that jar. But we're just going to go for it. So it's a cup of each. Sorry. So a cup of my more traditional oats going in the bowl, and then a cup of the finer oats. Okay. So what I also need to add into my bowl of oats is 2 tablespoons of chia seeds and some 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Very roughly, I might say. There we go. I now need to put some butter in the oven to melt because my pans are all being used up for the I've used up all the pans basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bowl. These are pretty safe to go in the oven at low temps. I get the rest of the ingredients in here, which is the apple puree, which I'm going to be using the Bayona apple puree. It's the only one that I could find. But this lasts in the fridge for 3 days, but the recipe calls for quite a lot, so 260 grams. I thought, yeah, I maybe I can use it up in a different way later on in the week. Also an egg, which you don't have to use, and also the butter. So I'm gonna get the butter weighed up a sec. You can also use coconut oil. We don't have any, so I'm gonna be using some unsalted butter. So let's see. 30 grams, by the way. Dead on 30 grams, wow, okay. Cut this into really small chunks so it melts a lot quicker over here. Meanwhile, the plum coulis is looking really nice actually. It's gotten a lot softer, so I think I might pop it in the NutriBullet, which is what I used before, to blend it and blend it up. 260 grams of the puree, if I can actually open it. Let's have a look. God, it's really hard. God. Ah, okay. Still got the strength. Right, okay, so 260 grams. There we go. And 1 egg, which I am going to use to help it bind together. I'm not sure, obviously, with bars and oat bars in the past that I've made, they haven't bound together very well. So I'm just going to be cautious and use the egg. Whilst the butter's melting, I am going to get the coulis and pop it. Yeah. That is very hot at the moment. I will show you what it looks like. It looks and smells absolutely delicious. And now you're getting all fogged up. But oh my goodness, the smell coming off these plums, so good. So I'm now going to pour in the coulis. I'm so sorry if this video is just all over the place. The next one will be a lot better, trust me. It's just hard figuring out which angles to film from. I'm finding that really hard today, actually, knowing what to lean you on. I need to get a stand, quite clearly. I used to have a tripod, but I got rid of it stupidly. So anyways, let's get this in. Because I hate that my head is like chopping off. Also my battery's flashing again. So today it's just not been the best day for filming. Anyways, let's get this into the NutriBullet. And I think the bread is ready to go in the oven now as well. And then we can finish off the apple pie bars. Okay, so there's the coulis all ready. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to wait for it to cool down because it's way too hot to put on the yogurt. And then I'm going to pour it onto my 2 yogurts in jars, and I'm going to pour the rest into another little jar and leave it in the fridge for the week, because you never know when you might want some nice fresh plum coulis. So I'll pop that over there for the moment. The bread has risen wonderfully, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 little slits along the top there. I don't know if you can see very well. And I'm going to sprinkle some flour on the top. And that's going to go in my roasting oven, which is 240 degrees roughly, for about 20-25 minutes. I normally just pop it in for about 20. I always go less with my oven because it's very hot. And if I need a little bit more, I'll do it for a little bit longer. So in this goes now. Apple pie bars just need, the butter is in there now, it's all melted. Pop in a squirt of honey. It's about a tablespoon, 1 to 2 tablespoons of honey or maple syrup. And I'm gonna mix this all in now. And then I have lined a square baking tin. It's this one here. I have actually lined it with paper. I thought just to be, just to be safe with these bars. And then they're ready to go in. I'm gonna stand up. Sorry if my head's cut off again, but I am obviously pregnant, and leaning forward like that is really awkward. So for today, you can just have me with my head cut off. That is looking really good. Here are the apple pie bars. Just need to cut them up, and the loaf is looking delicious. It's just like the right, it's not too hard, which is good, nice and soft. I'm gonna go ahead and chop this up on a board, move the bread over there for a moment and just have a little chat to you. Hopefully this video doesn't end up being too long. That's my fear, that this video is already ridiculously long. But thank you for sticking around if you got to the end of the video. And if you want to see any more videos of just homey, sort of homemaking, cooking content, then let me know. Give this video a like, subscribe if you want to. I really hope my son loves these bars. Yeah, I'm gonna give one a little try actually. This one's broken on the end. So here we go. Can you see that? Oh God. Really hard to focus on this. There we go. Let's give it a try. They're quite soft. I can taste the cinnamon and the apple. The flavour is really good actually. They're not the same consistency as the organics bars. These are a lot softer. Almost like bread pudding consistency. But I think maybe if I put one in his bag, he might eat it if it's the only thing there. We'll have to see. But no, I like them. So we'll see. So the coulis has now cooled down, so I'm gonna pour some on the top. Not too much. On top of these yogurt pots. And this will be a really nice breakfast for me tomorrow. So I haven't really gone, you know, I'm gonna put the rest in a jar. So if I do want to add some more, I can get some from the fridge anyway. Yeah, basically we have done, well, one breakfast, finished off the breakfast. We've done a snack, kid-friendly snack, and a loaf of bread. Sorry about my cough throughout this video. But yeah, I'm gonna go now and get cleaned up, and I will be back with more videos like this. I hope you stick around. Bye.